Don't drift away.
Yo, what's up everybody? Hope that y'all having a great day. And welcome to This Week in Football, the series where I break down everything that's happened this week in football. And guys, there has been so much that's happened this week, so I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just gonna get right into it. Now today we have two major stories, but I'm gonna start off with what I believe is the bigger of the two stories. And that is Ezekiel Elliot being suspended for 6 games. Now if you guys don't know why he's being suspended for 6 games, let me break it down for you guys. So what happened was in July of 2016, Ezekiel Elliot was believed to have used physical violence versus a woman that he had intimate relations with on multiple occasions. However, the Columbus City attorney said that there was conflicting and inconsistent evidence leading to believe that Ezekiel Elliot had physically abused women. So basically, if the police believe that he didn't abuse a woman, then why does the NFL still punish him? This is where the NFL really screwed themselves over. Because of all the years of them being really light and lenient towards domestic violence cases and giving very soft punishments like 2-game suspensions, sometimes not even suspending the people and just kind of like sweeping underneath the rug, now they feel like they have to go above and beyond and just crack the hammer down on anyone who's even accused of having a domestic violence case on them. Now please do not get me wrong, if Ezekiel Elliott did hit a woman, he does need to be suspended because this is a problem in the NFL, as we have clearly seen over the years. But just because someone accuses Ezekiel Elliott of hitting someone does not mean that he is that person. I mean, he's a celebrity. People are going to want to say and make up accusations just to get some attention or to try and like boost up their own profile. So it's kind of hard to just immediately just be like, oh well, if he's been accused of it, then he needs to be punished. Because if the police couldn't find anything, then what makes the NFL so sure that they are able to find something? But as of right now, you Cowboys fans are going to be out of your star rookie running back, Ezekiel Elliott, for 6 games unless he is able to protest it and get it reduced or somehow lessened. Alright, and secondly, we have a huge trade. I was actually getting ready to make this video, but then I turned on my phone and I saw on Instagram that this trade had gone through, and so I knew I had to put it in this week's episode. This is a huge 3-team trade between the Eagles, the Bills, and the Rams. Alright, so here's how the trade breaks down. So basically, the Bills get Jordan Matthews, the receiver from the Eagles, who's actually a really good young receiver. EJ Gaines, he's a pretty good cornerback for the Bills. The Rams 2018 second round pick and the Eagles 2018 third round pick. The Eagles are getting Ronald Darby, who's a really good cornerback from the Bills. And the Rams are getting Sammy Watkins and a 2018 6th round pick. The Rams are getting Sammy Watkins. Now I basically only have 2 things to say about this trade. One, the Bills are going to be hurting at the receiver position and Tyrod Taylor's job just got a whole lot harder. Sammy Watkins is definitely one of the better receivers in the NFL, and Tyrod Taylor definitely needed him there just to keep on progressing. And since he's gone, I mean, they do get Jordan Matthews, who is a good receiver, but he's nowhere near the level that Sammy Watkins is at. So I think this might hurt Tyrod Taylor. And on the flip side, Jared Goff just got blessed with an amazing receiver in Sammy Watkins. So now Jared Goff has Tom Gurley in the backfield and Sammy Watkins as his #1 receiver. And the Rams just drafted Cooper Kupp, who is actually one of my rookie sleepers. Be on the lookout for Cooper Kupp. That dude is a monster. And the Eagles just kind of solidified more of their defense. But yeah, no, when I woke up and saw this trade, I was like, wow, like I can't believe that Sammy Watkins is actually going to the Rams. So hopefully Jared Goff is able to improve and to really grow from this trade and is able to use Sammy Watkins to his fullest potential. Next, we got contract news, and this week we have a pretty big contract. Falcons star running back Devontae Freeman just signed a 5-year, $41.25 million contract extension, which makes him the highest paid running back in the NFL. And you wanna know the funniest thing about this contract? Devontae Freeman isn't even the one who's the happiest about this. Do you know who really is the happiest about this contract? David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell. Because without a doubt, those 2 running backs are definitely the 1A and 1B in the NFL, give or take whoever you want to have as the top running back. But those are definitely the 2 best running backs in the NFL right now. And they're looking at this contract like, okay, now we have a baseline so that when they're doing their long-term negotiations, which Le'Veon Bell's been really trying to get to, but he keeps on being put underneath the franchise tag. Once they sign their long-term deals, they're going to be able to go off of what this contract looks like. So I know that they're super happy that he just signed this contract. But yeah, the Falcons just secured their running game for the next 5 years. Hopefully that's enough to get them back to another Super Bowl push. Alright, next we're talking about retirements, and sadly today we're losing one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL, Vince Wilfork. He had a great 13-year career and he will always be remembered as having the biggest belly in the NFL. And before we get into this week's preseason game recaps, we gotta show some love to the Hall of Fame class of 2017. In my opinion, this is actually one of the better Hall of Fame classes. 2017 inductees are Kurt Warner, Jerry Jones, LaDainian Tomlinson, Terrell Davis, Morton Anderson, Jason Taylor, and Kenny Easley. There's some big names in there that definitely shaped and changed the NFL. We have the greatest never give up story in Kurt Warner, who went from bagging groceries to winning a Super Bowl to winning an MVP to being in the Hall of of Fame, to LaDainian Tomlinson, who gave us one of the best touchdown dances in all of football. So congrats, Hall of Fame class of 2017. Alright, now let's get into these games. Starting off the week, we had the Panthers going up against the Texans. Even though the Texans lost 17-27, Deshaun Watson showed a lot of promise. Deshaun Watson went 15 for 25 for 179 yards, and he also had 3 carries for 24 yards and 1 touchdown. But for those of you guys who watched it, you could definitely see how poised and collected he was in the pocket, and unlike a couple of quarterbacks that I'll get to a little bit later in this episode, he was showing a lot of character. Like, he looked like he was supposed to be out there on the field. He looked very just calm and collected, and he looked like he knew what he was doing out there. Like I said in my draft video, I thought that Deshaun Watson was personally the #1 quarterback in this draft, and honestly, he's kind of solidifying my opinions. I say come week 1 or week 2, Deshaun Watson will be the starter for the Texans. Another standout player was Panthers wide receiver Damiere Byrd, who had 4 catches for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now that's production right there. Cam Newton can definitely use all the weapons that he can get, so if this dude is able to establish himself as a solid, consistent wide receiver, he can find himself making plays during the regular season. The next game we had the Dolphins versus the Falcons, with the Dolphins coming out on top 23-20. Some of the standout players were Dolphins quarterback David Fales, who went 8 for 17 for 184 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dolphins receiver Demore Stringfellow, who had 2 catches for 116 yards and 1 touchdown, with one of those catches being a 99-yard touchdown, which helps kind of pad your stats. And Falcons running back Teron Ward, who had 11 carries for 48 yards and 1 touchdown. Next game up, we have the Vikings versus the Bills, with the Vikings coming out on top 17-10. Some standout players were Vikings quarterback Case Keenum, who went 11 for 16 for 121 yards. Bills quarterback Nathan Peterman, who went 13 for 25 for 112 yards and 1 touchdown. And for all my Florida State fans, Dalvin Cook had I would say he had an alright game. He had 5 carries for 13 yards, which is not the greatest, but he had 4 catches for 30 yards. Like, that's the kind of receiver, or that's the kind of running back he's going to be in the NFL. He's definitely going to be more of a dual threat running back as far as like making plays in the backfield as well as swinging out of the backfield and catching the pass. I thought they had a pretty good game. Next game up, we have the Redskins versus the Ravens, with the Redskins getting absolutely destroyed 23-3. The Redskins just couldn't get anything to work for them. Redskins rookie running back Samaje Perine had 6 carries for 15 yards. I mean, that's not a good average at all. That's almost 2 yards per carry. Whereas Ravens quarterback Josh Woodrum went 4 for 4 for 85 yards and 1 touchdown. Hey, I mean, as he's probably going to be a 3rd string quarterback, or he's just trying to find a way to be on the team. So going perfect and throwing a touchdown without throwing an interception, that shows that you are willing and able to play on the team. Next game up, we have the Super Bowl defending Patriots going down to the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-24. Jaguars rookie running back Leonard Fournette had 9 carries for 31 yards and 1 touchdown, which I think is pretty solid for a rookie running back. People expect these rookies to have crazy stats in their first preseason game, but you gotta remember, this is their first time playing up against NFL competition, so I think for him to come out and be able to put up the stats that he did in his first game is pretty solid. Also, we have to spotlight potentially the best backup in the NFL in Jimmy Garoppolo, who went 22 for 28 for 235 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm telling you guys right now, once Tom Brady leaves, the Patriots are going to stay the same. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to step right into Tom Brady's place, and he's going to take over that team and lead them to potentially another dynasty. You guys are probably sleeping on Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm telling you, this dude is a monster. Keep an eye on him. Next game up, we have the Saints versus the Browns, with the Browns actually winning a game, winning 20-14. And the star player of the night was definitely DeShone Kizer. He went 11 for 18 for 184 yards and 1 touchdown. DeShone Kizer is showing everyone why he was considering himself to be the best quarterback in this draft, and why a lot of draft analysts actually had him going in the 1st round. He's one of those sleepers that might end up being in the next Dak Prescott or Russell Wilson. We also got to look at the #1 overall pick, Myles Garrett, who had 1 tackle, which was a tackle for loss, so I mean, that's pretty good. But Myles Garrett was definitely making sure that his presence was felt on the field, and he was making a lot of plays without being the one tackling the person. We also have to spotlight Saints wide receiver Tommy Lee Lewis, who had 10 catches for 124 yards and 1 touchdown. Watch out, you guys. The Saints have one of the best wide receiver corps in the NFL, with one of the best quarterbacks in Drew Brees. Knowing Drew Brees, he'll probably throw for another 5,000 yard season this year. Next up, we have the Eagles versus the Packers, with the Packers easily winning 24-9. Even though the Eagles did lose pretty badly, they still can hold their head up because Carson Wentz went 4 for 4 for 56 yards and 1 touchdown. I hope that Carson Wentz doesn't fall into that sophomore slump and is able to grow from last season and to be able to establish himself as one of the better young quarterbacks in the NFL. And speaking of young quarterbacks, Packers quarterback Brett Hundley went 8 for 15 for 90 90 yards and 1 touchdown. I know it's preseason, but these young quarterbacks are looking pretty solid in the preseason so far. And lastly, the Broncos beat the Bears 24-17. Even though the Broncos did beat the Bears 24-17, Bears fans were not disappointed because Mitch Trubisky showed himself to be the #1 quarterback in this draft class. Now, I'm gonna say it here first. If you guys watched my draft video, I was super critical on the Bears pickup of Mitch Trubisky. I felt like he was not a proven enough quarterback to be worth giving up that much for. But when in this first game he goes 18 for 25 for 166 yards and 1 touchdown with 3 carries for 38 yards, that is a very solid performance. And just to even go past the numbers, for those of you guys who watched the game, Mitch Trubisky was out there and he looked extremely collected. I was very surprised at how well he actually played. He was keeping his eyes downfield, his footwork was almost flawless, his throwing motion was extremely well. The out route that he threw to Victor Cruz for his only touchdown was, honestly, that looked almost like a perfect play. Like from the throw to the catch and just everything looked so flawless. Mitch Trubisky might end up surprising all of us in being worth all of the stuff that the Bears had to give up for him. And where the Bears potentially have their quarterback of the future, the Broncos are still trying to figure out who their starting quarterback is going to be. Trevor Siemian, who started the game, went 6 for 7 for 51 yards, and Paxton Lynch, who came in after him, went 6 for 9 for 42 yards. Now, I'm a Bronco fan, and I will tell you straight up, I was very disappointed in the Broncos offense when those two guys were leading the field. It seemed like every single time they went out on the field, it was just a 3 and out. Honestly, at this point, I think that the Broncos should just name Trevor Siemian the starter and allow him to have that comfort of knowing that they're actually having faith in him. For those of you guys who play football or ever played a sport where you've been in a position battle, every single time you go into practice or anytime you step into the field or just anytime you're around your teammates, you always feel like if you make one wrong move, you're going to lose your starting spot. And right now, I think that Trevor Siemian is showing that he can lead this offense the best. Now, he's not the best quarterback, but he is the best of the two, at least in my opinion. So I think that we should just name him the starter, and unless Paxton Lynch shows that he is far and beyond the better quarterback, that just to let Trevor Siemian just have a whole season where he is solidly the #1 quarterback for the Denver Broncos. And I think that extremely improved his play. He'd be able to relax, know that if he makes a mistake, he's not going to get pulled out of the game, that he can just go out there and play his style of football. But hopefully they get it together soon, because the offense cannot rely on the defense to keep on scoring, even though Chris Harris Jr. had a pick 6 and the Broncos defense did have a fumble recovery. And with that all being said, that is what happened this week in football. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave this video a like. Yo, can we get this video to 75 likes? That lets me know that you guys are enjoying these videos. Also, leave a comment down below of any other stories that I might have missed, or if there's any improvements that you guys wanted to see for this series, because I really do enjoy making these style of videos for you guys, just to give you guys just more information on what's happening every single day in the NFL. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you guys can stay on top of all the videos that I am coming out with. Yeah. Alright, but with that all being said, I hope you all have a great day, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Ciao.